Hello. Welcome to Healthy by Choice, the podcast that's here to ignite your belief in what's truly possible for your health and well-being. Hi, I'm Dr. Kerry, and what lights me up is empowering others. My mission has always been to inspire you to take your health seriously and give you the tools to understand your body on a deeper, more meaningful level. In each episode, we'll explore the healing power of nature, the role of real food as medicine, and how intentional movement can restore balance to your body and mind. So whether you're on a journey of prevention, recovery, or simply seeking more vitality, this podcast is your reminder. You hold the power to heal. Thanks so much for joining me. Hi friends, welcome back. This episode is about stick yoga. Sometimes we call it stick stretching, sometimes we call it stick yoga. This is my newest obsession and my truest love. It's actually not new, and it's not new to me. I know many people have not heard of it before, but actually stick yoga was created more than 30 years ago by a beautiful, heart-centered, high-energy, and incorruptible soul named Dr. Arthur Faygenholz. He now lives and teaches in Santa Cruz, California, and I intend to have him on the pod to share his passion about this incredible form he crafted. He took together his study from yoga and Tai Chi plus his own experience with movement and created this gorgeous and playful way of training our bodies. And I'm telling you, every single dingle thing about stick stretching and stick yoga, that and Dr. Arthur is a yes for me. We are totally aligned in our commitment to being proactive when it comes to health and our bodies. We both believe prevention is a way of living, and we're focused on body, mind, and spirit, as well as continued personal growth. And we both live by example. So using a stick comes into play for the movement, stretching, and fun. It should be noted that Dr. Arthur is the funnest, and I started studying with him in 2007, and I fell in love with the form because I feel so good after a good stick stretching session, a workout, and it's so fun. I have seen people in his classes use this as a way to heal, as a way to, well, some people use it before they go into surgery. Some people come out of surgery and then use it. And some people use it to prevent ever needing surgery. So I've, at this point, because I've been doing it for so long, I've really seen the stick workouts used in every possible way, to be quite honest with you. But the thing is, when you're having fun, and especially you put on a little music, you dance a little bit, and, it's like the time goes by and you don't recognize that it's a quote unquote workout. We could use a different word even, but then you realize, wow, I feel so good and relaxed. And I'll give you an example. I was at a seminar recently. I've gone to many of his seminars this year, particularly, and there was a woman who had a very low range of motion in her shoulder, and she said, oh, I have an injury, I'm working on a shoulder injury or whatever she said. And I really wish we had taken pictures of what her range of motion was when we started in the morning, because I'm telling you, as the day went on, she could move her shoulder, move her arm, move her hand to scratch her own back, and she had full range of motion after we were done. And this was not like she was here with the intention of healing a shoulder, by the way. She was just taking the course to work with him for that day. It was magical. And it's, Dr. Arthur always says that everything's a miracle. And I'm telling you, the guy creates miracles. But watching this particular woman, in disbelief of what her own body was capable of and the amount of healing and how fast, it was such a miracle, and it was just so incredibly beautiful to witness, because quite honestly, this is the most gentle way to work with the body. It is non-invasive. It is working at your own pace. It's working at your own resistance. There's no extra weight. And so before I get ahead of myself, I'll break it down a little bit. And I'll use a 6-foot bamboo stick as an example. And Dr. Arthur does have 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, and all kinds of other things. I'm going to use the example of primary, the first thing we start with, 6-foot bamboo stick. So if you have a stick in your hands, let's say you want to practice balance poses, well, now you have that extra grounding, right? So you can lift one of your legs off of the ground and have more balance, as an example. Also, if you want a greater range of motion, you can twist one direction with the side of your body that you want more range of motion, and use the opposite side of the body to go the opposite direction, and that will increase the side that you're working on. I mean, it's so low tech, which is really funny for me to say, and low impact and high yield. It is amazing to watch people, like right in front of our faces, heal as we, go throughout the day or go through a workout. For me personally, I really like to keep flexible by using my stick, and I really like to use it as my cool down. So I do a small warm up before I leave each day. I'm currently training for a hike. I like to do one big hike every year, and I don't want my legs to be really sore, right? I mean, obviously that goes without saying. I don't want the lactic acid buildup, and I don't want the soreness. So I can take the stick, and of course I can rub it on my legs the way that you would with any other massage tool. But I also can stretch myself and expand and extend the distance that I can stretch in a way that without a stick I would never be able to do. And I would love to take these into yoga classes and get the instructors to incorporate this, because people who have balance issues, that's over and done with. I mean, like, you have one extra, leg to stand on, literally. So it's a little bit difficult to describe without visuals. And it's also enough to say it's really fun, it's really easy, it's really lighthearted. There's no wrong way with stick, but it's definitely not the kind of thing where anyone can be excluded or would be excluded. As an example, when Dr. Arthur created this, he was working with people in wheelchairs. He was working with athletes in wheelchairs. As an example, there are older people, there are younger people, there are people who want to get more from themselves athletically, there are people who want to be able to get in and out of a chair, there are people who want to fight gravity. I think we all want to fight gravity at every age. I mean, obviously gravity is always going to win, so we want to provide resistance training. There have been times, like, he was showing me some pretty advanced moves, some extra stretching things that we can do. I can just share with you me personally, because I've been walking around a table and looking down for 30 years. It's not exactly good for my body to do that, as much as I love to love on my patients and make them my focus. When I'm not looking down and touching people, I need to be telling my brain, hey, stand up, make yourself big, make myself tall, and hold myself up again against gravity. So I like to just walk around with a stick behind my back, so the crook of my elbows will hold the stick against my back, and I can actually increase that amount of tension, and it gives me a better posture. It's pretty flipping great for me, because I've been looking down for a long time. Some of the other things, like what I would prescribe for some of my patients and me, I think about it as like the forward head posture. We really can get into a better posture when we use a stick to help us increase our length, right? Lengthen through the spine, increase the space between the discs, relieve the tension, but also the forward head posture, and also dropping the shoulders, bringing the waist up. So the round shoulders become back down together. The rib cage collapse, we can lift through The low back tightness can super loosen. The low back tightness loosens up pretty quickly as we just move around throughout the day, throughout the stick stretching. And any shoulder problems, I'm telling you, back to the story of the woman, I would not call myself personally somebody with shoulder problems, but I will tell you, I feel so much better after stick, after having both arms loosened up. Because again, what I do tends to be dominant hand dominant, and I really try to use both of my hands. I really try to walk around both sides of the table, and I end up being just way more right hand dominant. So obviously I want to reduce my risk of injury and degeneration. So I want to keep motion. I want to keep mobility. I clearly also want to improve my biomechanics, and I use the stick to help, sometimes one stick and sometimes two sticks with patients to do that. They can maintain their joint stability and improve that nutrition to the discs and other joints just by getting the flexibility and really just by using the joints, which you have more access to use the joints, more access to use more of the body when you have one stick or two sticks. When we gather, one of the things I really love about stick is that it creates community. So number one, creating community is a primary concern for me. But one of the things is just in getting motion going, just in getting movement and having a little fun, maybe having a little music. We're allowed to laugh, that's helpful. We also always start from, sometimes you can call it a horse stance. That's what Dr. Arthur calls it. I like to call it mountain pose because in yoga, everything starts with what is essentially anatomical position, with a loose bend in the knee, comfortable, but good posture, good, strong, solid stance. And quite honestly, that in and of itself, just always beginning from a grounded place and tuning into the body is in and of itself a gift. And then adding any flexibility or coordinated movement to that is fantastic. That every time we're using the stick, because it requires balance, because it requires movement at the same time, we really are working on our bilateral coordinated movement. Boy, that's hard to say. The benefit of bilateral movements when they're coordinated, it's that integration, right? We want the right side and the left side hemispheres of the brain communicating with one another. It's really important anti-aging stuff. If you look at people as they age, they often will start to walk with a wider stance and increase the width of their steps. It's because they're losing that coordination, and we want to build that again. Use it so you don't lose it. The super most fun thing about sticks is that I haven't found any time that we can't use them. I think Dr. Arthur would say the same thing. He will basically use a stick or sticks in everything. There was one class where we took a TRX and we put a stick through the loops, and we used it in our strength training. And we went across the bar, we did push-ups, we did pull-ups, pull-downs, we did curls. Everything a person could do on a TRX, we did with a stick through the loops. So be creative. And isn't that the most fun part? There is a lot of benefit to strength training. There's a great deal of benefit to cardiovascular training. And flexibility training will always, always be the most important lifelong piece for longevity. And the more fun, the more likely we are to continue to do it. And the most important thing is that we do it. Isn't consistency the real flex? And we want to do things that are going to improve from where we are now. I'm so much a believer that I want to be better tomorrow than I was yesterday. Not only maintaining, but better. And so far that's become true. in recent years, I have been challenging myself to do something new, some new workout or something that I hadn't done. And I've been able to do a lot of things. And when I think about how keeping the mobility of my shoulders, the mobility of my hips, and just the flexibility of my spine through my regular stick stretching, I have to say I can credit adding a stick to pretty much why my spirits are better, why my morning routines are more fun, and why I'm getting more done in all of my workouts across the board. And I really think that it's the kind of thing that I've said this before, but I think we could add it to anything, and there's no one who's limited. As much as I love working with Dr. Arthur, and I really love going to his seminars in person, the reason that I became certified in teaching stick is I want to work with a population of people and get them moving. We know that movement is life and life is movement. That's absolutely true. And as I have said so many times, brain in communication with the body and body in communication with the brain. And the way that we do that is we get things flowing, we get things moving. And the more we are enjoying ourselves, I almost don't want to say the word fun again, but there's really something to enjoying what you're doing enough that you will do it, enough that a person will be consistent. And I know for myself personally, the one thing over the years, I have gotten pretty serious about some strength training. I have gotten pretty serious about a lot of cardiovascular things. And the one thing is flexibility takes its back seat. I do yoga, and I have my relationship with yoga, and I would never take away from that. And people love Pilates, and in the past I have had a regular Pilates routine. All of that, wonderful things. It keeps the spine going, it keeps the body going, and it keeps flexibility in the body. All really important. The bottom line is, what will you do? What will you enjoy doing? And then as we age, or as we restrict ourselves, or as we restrict our time, what excuses will we make not to do something? And because the stick is accessible, because it's enjoyable, because we can do it anywhere under any circumstances as long as you have a stick, I think it's one more tool in the toolbox, number one. And it's one of those things where almost every time I pick up my stick, I come up with a new way to use it. I come up with something else fun to do, even if it's really close to what I was doing yesterday. It might be totally different. And I do have a list of exercises written on my board that I do every morning, 10 or 12, kind of getting my flow, getting my lymph moving, and purposeful movement, right? I really do purposeful movement with the intention of getting me going, increasing my blood flow, increasing my lymph, and keeping my brain in communication with my body, and keeping coordination, and keeping balance. And when I do that with a stick, I am enhancing my brain development. I'm enhancing my brain health. I'm enhancing that coordination between the right and the left hemisphere of my brain. It is decreasing the aging that happens naturally if we don't be active. And for me, one of the biggest things is creating community. And I like to do things that are in motion in community. And so like any other yoga class or class that we would take in a gym, stick is often done outside, and Dr. Arthur does it at the beach and in the forest. And I am going to make it a practice to do it in the parks near where I live and work. And so just finding ways to connect with my community and connect with our bodies, each of us to our bodies, is really inspiring every single day. All flexibility training improves our range of motion. I'm not sure that I can even say how important I feel that is, because I don't want to get stiff, and I absolutely want all the fluids moving. And so increasing range of motion is one of the most, motivating factors. But enhancing performance at any level, regardless of you have a specific sport or just daily activity, having better flexibility is always, always, always going to improve your movement efficiency. Absolutely. And obviously we want to reduce the risk of injury. And so people oftentimes will notice that as if somebody is aging and not practicing consciously moving, likely they lose their gait, right? They start to take a wide stance and go back and forth side to side. That is at an increase of injury in and of itself. But it's also putting unnecessary strain on parts of the body. So we want to reduce that stress on the joints and, of course, lower the likelihood of injury. And keeping in motion will absolutely do that. And focusing on posture. I am absolutely somebody. I've been looking down and walking around a table for 30 years. My brain thinks I want to be shaped like that. And I'm afraid that my brain thinks I want to be shaped, looking over forward. So I really take seriously the promoting better posture and alignment. And I really need personally to focus on my muscular imbalances and work very closely with my patients who most people are sitting all the time or have a different repetitive motion. I'm, of course, standing all the time, but it's all about the ergonomics and all about not getting motion, not getting those joint spaces to have some fluidity, some movement, some flow. We got to get blood flow. I really find that the more consistently anyway that I use my stick, my muscles just feel less tense. I just absolutely feel more stretched out, and feeling more stretched out just feels more better. And I will say I feel happier. I don't really know how else to say that except for it feels good to feel good. That's what I'm going to say. And I want that for all of us. Please, if ever you have questions, ask. And I am absolutely always looking forward to talking about stick yoga, and you can go to stickyoga.com and see what Dr. Arthur has to say about it. But most importantly, get moving. Did you hear my little doggie in the background? She's exasperated by me talking into my iPhone. Okay, you know that I love you. I'm sending you my very best, and I hope to see you out there with the stick.